Welcome back everybody to day 6 of the survival guide. This is the day where we really need to start looking at getting everything ready for day 7. Throughout the night we've been creating more weapons and stuff like that to get the leveling up. Obviously that affects your arrows and your melee weapons, and we'll get some of these points into these skills as well while we're at it, as obviously we've been mounting them up whilst we've been doing some work. Now day 6 really is about getting everything set ready for day 7. Don't forget we still have day 7 to fall back on if we need to. However, realistically we want to be looking where we can close the door, get upstairs and hope that we can hold out. Remember, it isn't necessarily all about making sure they don't break in on the day 7. It's all about making sure they can't take down the building around you. Obviously I've had the discussion throughout the video about obviously things collapsing and stuff like that, so you just need to get yourself in a good secure location and upstairs, and you'll see that on the next day where we'll take out the top 2 of the ladder and we will just basically hide upstairs. There's nothing much really you can do on a Bloodmoon Horde other than keeping yourself alive. So we'll just continue working on obviously the melee weaponry, getting it all done and dusted, getting them levels up. That's what it's all about. It's just getting ourselves in a good situation where we can hold ourselves off if we need to, and obviously clear the horde once night 7 is over with. Obviously once we move into day 8, I'm moving ahead of myself. Once we move into day 8 daytime, we can clear the horde in the building. That's why we want to be getting these leveled up. Obviously we've still got the quest outstanding, so whilst I'm waiting here I do get that basically done and dusted and out of the way. As you can see, there hasn't been a necessity of doing it up until, well, there still isn't really, but I'm just wanting to clear it just to get it out of the way. You can quite easily go through the game, certainly for the first part, without doing this quest at all. Cloth armor, I've not really worried about the armor because we haven't really been combating them, and the weather, to be fair, around us is moderate, so we haven't needed to keep warm. As you can see, he's just got his pants and his top, his hat on, that's it. There hasn't really been any need for anything else, thankfully. Obviously if you're in a cold climate, then you need to make sure obviously you're getting your clothing up and you're getting some cloth just to basically cover you up and keep yourself a bit warmer. It may not stand too much depending on how cold it is, but it will certainly help keep you alive. So that's basically where we're at with this, is just getting ourselves, get the quest done, get it boxed off, waiting for the daytime, and we'll start working on the building. Now remember, we're thinking ahead with the building, certainly I am anyway. I'm thinking of what I want to achieve when day 7 obviously ends. I'm wanting it to, you know, basically hold out for the next horde, and for that to happen I need to be starting to think, well, what am I going to expand on? Thankfully we've got a good area to work with, so we can play around a little bit. Now some of you may have already noticed what I'm kind of doing with it, and I'm basically creating a location for a forge. Sorry, I've already got a forge. For a moat, sorry. The only difference is the moat's going to be full of spikes, so when they drop down into it, it's going to be killing them. So again, as you can see, when I'm doing these weapons I am scrapping them, getting the parts back so I can make more and more and more. They're of a good level now. We're starting to get up to the second tier of leveling, up to the 200s soon, so that's nice to see. It's coming along quite nicely. It's a little painstaking for the first few nights, but it will make it worthwhile when you get towards the latter part of this game. You'll be, you know, set up ready to go, and that's what we're aiming to do. and it's basically just waiting until the daytime and then getting our work done. Inside's still not perfect yet, but we will be working on that as well. The reason why I work on the inside is to keep it, sturdy. Obviously, I mentioned in the last video about how it'll only hold so much. If you start losing blocks and stuff like that, you're going to start struggling. So we're going to be looking at what we can do to keep it maintained. So let's have a look at what we're doing with the building. Obviously, this is the supports we're using for the roof, so we want to make sure that it's on its own sturdy level and it's upgraded as well. The higher the upgrade, obviously, the better it's going to be for us for defense purposes. So that's the thought behind that. Obviously, they do the same as what normal blocks do, but they look the part, and it's aesthetically pleasing. So that's what we're going to be working on. You want it to look like a building would look. You're just going to have loads of wooden blocks everywhere. So that's why we've decided to use the pillars, of course. So we'll just get rid of the last of our nightly work. We're starting to get into daytime now, so we can start working on the building. And this is where we really need to lock it down, because we're not going to get much time between now and when the Horde arrive. So this is basically our time to get out there, get our resources and get the building up as well. You really want to be looking at doing more of a 80-20 on this. Yeah, go out, get some resources that you need, but realistically you should have the resources you need by now. Your forge is going, you're going to be getting some decent tools anytime. Obviously you're still going to be needing iron and stuff like that, so you still need to go out there and collect more of it, but you really need to be starting to upgrade this building. So that's exactly what we're doing here. As you can see, it's daytime now. We can go out there and can start gathering more resources, but let's just get this inside done and ready to hold its own. Basically, last thing we want is if one of these was left as it is now, a zombie could fall into it and then he'd break his way through to try and get to you, so he could end up breaking half the floor, half the wall. And if that happens to break underneath where you are, it will collapse the structure. As I say, I will do another video at a later stage showing you how that operates and how, putting a few blocks together and removing one of them, it's going to collapse. So keep an eye out for that. I will give you a heads up when that happens. So just make sure you hit that notification and subscribe if you are interested in that. I'll be doing that within the next couple of weeks, hopefully. So back to what we're doing here. We're really starting to get this interior looking more like a home rather than a dirt patch that we've put a bit of wall around. Plenty of area, plenty of space to work with. The tools are not the best at the moment, but they're doing the job. We will be getting better tools soon. The forge is on its way, so we're starting to get some better iron and forged iron, which is what you're going to need for your new fire axe, your new pickaxe and your new shovel. So it's a bit tricky. You're trying to try to keep yourself above the level. It's a bit easier to play with. It's a bit of a pain in the ass if you go any lower. So that's the floor done, in principle anyway. And look at that, we've hit another level on our wooden clubs as well. So that's obviously, that'll be the arrows as well. Well, the bows, sorry, the bows will have leveled a bit. So as I say, they link the two together, so that's nice, so you don't have to do them both separately. So our arrows should hopefully cause more damage, and we might be able to sustain a bit of a fight. Certainly be able to deal with any of the zombies that are left behind. So we'll just get rid of this in the backpack and give ourselves a bit more room to play with. Obviously we've got our one that we want there. That's just in case we get caught by a zombie. The last thing you want to be doing is trying to fight your way with a zombie using only your bow. We're still not secure enough to use light inside, so we'll just keep it on for now whilst it's daytime so we can see what we're doing. That's your choice, you don't have to do that. Remembering obviously as well that we've still got to remember to eat and to keep ourselves hydrated. Now we've got plenty of options to do that now. So you get some murky water, get it in the cooking pot and get it boiled and made into normal water so we can survive. As I say, there's still chance to gather some resources, and that's exactly what we're doing here. Is just getting last bits of resources. Yucca plant's great for, keeping yourself up there, making sure that you're not obviously starving, and gives you a bit of an energy boost. Obviously, we're going to start looking at getting the mort done here. Oh, sorry, this is the clay. Sorry, we need the clay to obviously get ourselves some iron. Obviously, it uses clay to create forged iron. You find the clay patches on the map. There's little dark areas on the map. That's usually clay. Remember to get the yucca plants as well, keeping your energy up there. I just want to shoot through this quickly, and hopefully we can get as much resources as we can on the way. Building our yucca plants. Energy up there. There we go. There's some water that we've put in there from earlier, and now the clay's now burning into the forge. Now, obviously, the last thing I want to do is have the zombies in view when you're coming up here. You want to try and keep them out of view as best you can. We haven't got much time to play with now, so the likelihood is we're still going to be visible from the roof. Well, let's make sure they can't climb the roof, because obviously if they happen to climb on top of each other, they do sometimes kind of bump their own level up, and they can scale walls, which was surprising to me when I first saw that. So just make sure your walls are nice and high. Obviously this is the outer wall now that we're working on as well. We'll be linking the two together by means of the floor for the second level, giving ourselves a bigger second level. And that's kind of the idea I've got in my head at the moment on what I'm doing with each of these. Is I'll probably do the second level and I'll produce a third level, just so I've got something visual as well. I'll probably put lighting on that, so okay, yeah, it will attract zombies, but by the time you're set up and ready to go, you'll have kind of a trap in place, so that if they do come in, they'll just fall into the ground and there'll be plenty of spikes there to kill the zombies. I'm not worrying too much about looting them zombies, because realistically at that level you're going to have plenty of stuff to play with already. Plenty more of these. So this is where your wood's just going to get used. It's just you've obviously using the wood for the frames, and then you've got to upgrade the frames as best you can. Certainly by level 2 for the outer bit. Obviously they're about too high. Okay, yeah, they can scale as each other, as I said earlier, but the likelihood of it happening all over the place is less. So okay, if it happens in an isolated area, they're going to gain entry, but they're not all going to swarm into that one way and smash it all up. Certainly through the door though, so we're going to make sure the door is of a decent level as well. And realistically, you don't want to be. You can block the door up if you want. However, that stops you from being able to repair it if that's your decision to do that. If you want to stand them off on the ground level, you can actually just sit by the door and just keep repairing the door. But obviously, if they come in for another area, you're going to get taken by surprise. So I'd certainly suggest not doing that for a horde-based event. However, during a normal horde attack, then there's no harm in that. Now, I'm struggling with resources here, so I'm actually going to just cover the roof up, just to stop them basically. If they do manage to scale the wall before we finished for day 7, then we've got a chance of just taking out 1 or 2 zombies rather than having them all climbing over that bloody wall and getting into your inner layers and damaging your inner layers before you've even got a chance to build them up. Remembering as well, feathers, always pick up your feathers. You're going to be using them still. I'm still using them as a good stable weapon, and realistically you should too. Relying on a wooden bat isn't going to cut it really moving forward, because last thing you want to do is jump in with about 4 zombies there trying to kill them. So it's just about gathering more resources. Obviously we're going to need loads of wood. Now that's the only downside to this area that I've chosen here, is the lack of wood. But what I will say, a nice little hint, is that if you find an area that's quite fruitful with wood, zombie here, notice he's going a little bit quicker now. We're not pure daytime, so I think he's picking up his pace a little bit. Another level there, and he's dead, and it's useless. Find yourself an area with loads of trees, chop them down. You should get some pine seeds. Then pine seeds can be laid down in this kind of ground, and what that does is it'll create trees. They're not the best trees in the world, but they certainly give off plenty of wood, and they give you more pine seeds as well when you break them down. So it's kind of like a never-ending loop of trees, and you get more than one tree from a pine seed as well. I think you get about 3 or 4 per seed. So you get more and more and more pine seeds, more and more trees, and slowly but surely you're getting yourself a nice sustainable resource. And that's what you're trying to do in an area like that, is getting your resources to you. Because obviously, if you look here, we're travelling quite a distance now. This is taking time up. This is making it a bit, harder for us to obviously. Oh, nice tree stump here. Trees are getting bigger, so these are your bigger trees, give off more wood. These are the ones I was just mentioning, and hopefully when we do manage to get this one down, we should get ourselves a pine seed, and that's what you want to be dropping down near your base. They do take longer to chop down, but you're getting a lot more wood. This area is quite good for the wood, to be fair. And as I mentioned earlier, you can never have too much wood. You want to be getting yourself as much wood as physically possible. If you get a chance to, they're actually in the middle of like 4 biomes here actually. So this is probably the best area for wood. And if you get a chance, collect as much as possible. Even if you spend an entire day just collecting wood or stone and iron, doesn't matter. You're going to need more. That's all we're doing here, is just keeping an eye out for any zombies as well. Boost up your stamina. The higher your stamina, the more it gives you. If you let your stamina drop too low, it will actually not give you as much. Full cacti over there as well. They give you more plant fibres and more yucca plants. They are yucca plants, so they can give you yucca fruit. Didn't get any seeds unfortunately from them. However, the yucca fruit is still really good to have. It's an aloe vera plant there. Want to keep an eye out for the zombies. The fog's quite close in, so it's kind of hard to see. I've heard something, but we're looking alright at the moment. This is obviously, your vision's reduced massively. I can hear something, but I can't find where it is. You want to be keeping an eye out just in case. They just pop up out of nowhere, and that's the problem. You could be doing one thing and all of a sudden you hit, you're dazed, you're buggered. We're looking alright, I think. I certainly think there's a zombie around somewhere, but I can't see him anywhere. Remember, you can move around whilst you're doing this. Do a 360 of the tree if you want to. Not the ideal of lighting, unfortunately. Getting ourselves, there we go, pine seeds there. These smaller rocks will give you more iron as well than the bigger boulders. The bigger ones, they don't give you much at all. They just give you a lot of stone. So if you drop down the smaller ones, you'll get plenty of iron from them. There he is. I knew he wasn't around. I knew he was around somewhere. I'm not going to entertain him at the moment. I'm going to head off in this direction here, keeping my stamina up. So another good thing about yucca plants is, obviously, if you're being chased by a zombie, you can keep your stamina up and you can keep running. As soon as your stamina runs out, you're buggered. A deer there. I'm not going to bother with a deer at the moment. Nothing to say you don't have to. If you want to, you can take them out and get some more meat. Bearing in mind that once you pick up that meat, you have a smell radius and zombies can pick you up. But remember, this is day 6. We're starting to run out of time now. So we've got more resources. I'll take these resources back. We're going to obviously the time's starting to tick now as well. We're going to be working on our base, and day 7 really we need to be finishing it off and getting it up to certainly the 2nd level of wood for day 7. 2nd level of wood does delay them for a bit, and it gives you good sustainability for the top level. Just making some more adjustments to the front of the building. I don't want them to get down in the hole and end up digging underneath the what you call it, the wall. This is what it's all about. I'm not caring much for the dirt. The dirt can be used at a later stage for fertilizer. We don't need to worry about stuff like that. All we're worried about is getting the building up to a standard where we're going to survive. Remember, once your first 7 days are up, you've got another 7 days until you get your next horde. So you can do a bit more exploration, do a bit more in your building if you want. You're open to more possibilities once this first horde is out of the way. Because don't forget, you've started with nothing on this one. Next one, you start with everything that you've worked to build. So hopefully you're at a better standing. I'm just popping these up here just to make them look a bit better. Stop me falling down the hole as well. And collect some more resources. As I said to you earlier, these really don't give you much iron, unfortunately. This, as you can see, the iron is not going up at all. One every so often. So if you're after iron, then you want to be taking the smaller rocks, and they'll give you plenty. And certainly when you start leveling up your pickaxes, they give you loads of iron. You'll be inundated with them. So there isn't much more now that we're going to be doing on day 6, so I'm going to leave it there, and we're going to move on to day 7 and see how day 7 pans out, and hopefully we'll get a glimpse at the horde and how that's going to work for us and how our base holds up to them. Thank you very much for watching. Again, please subscribe to my channel, leave any comments below, any tips or anything like that, and I will incorporate them into videos that I produce soon. Thanks again for watching though, and hopefully we will survive day 7 and this guide has been useful for you. I'll see you on day 7.